Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Happy Bringling. Today we are going to talk about a very important launch, a book. It's in the form of a book though, but it's the entire concept, or you can say a little bit of a constitution about how we could work towards transforming India into a self-sustainable and financially independent economy, leading to zero unemployment. India is currently having a very good demographic dividend advantage with us. So we have 260 million plus youth in our country and around 500 million plus children, which is close to 54% of the population, which is less than 30 years old. So if we can upskill them, we can work with them for the next 30 to 50 years and make them ready in the next 3 to 5 years. I think our India has a potential to become a superpower again. India was called as Sone the golden bird, and we literally got, had invaders coming in after the 10th century. So we were the number one economy in the first century. Then we regained the position, or we continued the position along with China as number one and number two till 10th century. So we were the India and China were the two major economies. Then the invaders started coming in, and we literally had to go through a lot of struggles, the freedom fighting, struggles. Our freedom fighters have done a lot of work. We got independence on 15th August 1947, but with a partition. We were divided. And with that initiative, I think in the last 75 years, a lot of work has happened in the country. A lot of work has been done by various, business and government leaders out there who has tried to transform India and make it as a Atmanirbhar Bharat, as a self-sustainable economy. What we are focusing upon is we are bringing out all those aspects in this book about how we could, focus on bringing the excellence in by transforming, working on excellence in three E's: education, employment, and entrepreneurship, with an underlying focus on health, because unless you are healthy enough, it won't work out. Accessibility and inclusion, which basically 75% of our population of persons with disabilities are uneducated today, and 15% of the population is belongs to this person with disabilities. And we have experts like Sharmila who is working on that. In the health segment, Aishwarya is developing an entire health-based ecosystem. And finally, the technology, how the new technologies are evolving, how the metaverse, NFTs, blockchain, 3D printing, robotics, drone technologies, all these are coming up into the ecosystem. There are some more aspects of focus areas about, mental, emotional, and physical health focus out there. The important areas like farming and agriculture, mobility, which are also being spoken about that. I think I don't want to talk about much more. It's already there in the synopsis of the book, and all of you would have seen that synopsis out there. If you have not seen it, you can check the video on Bringle Talks YouTube channel and you will be able to get it. You can send an email to us at info@bringleacademy.com or at info@vardhan4u.com, and we will be able to share those synopsis details with you. So now with this, the whole concept is all about transforming India into a self-sustainable economy. And that's what we are calling it as SoneKiChidiyaKoJagao. How we could awaken the golden bird. Now this golden bird is there inside each of us, each of you, each of the person which is there. Because we cannot transform the country unless we are able to transform ourselves first. And this golden bird is also known as your leadership, your inner leadership, which is very well required for our country in the next coming 30 to 50 to 100 years from now, so that we can regain our lost glory and the super powerful economy status back. There are various efforts which are being done by business and political leaders even now. But I certainly feel, and this is the entire Bringle Vardhan team, Able Card, and all the 23 co-authors who have contributed towards this book, they sincerely feel that we all can work together something about everybody. And if we can work out and transform themselves and just help them know your themselves a little better, I think each of us have a capacity to transform ourselves, then our family, a neighborhood, a probably a state, a country, and then eventually the world. And that's what the book is all about. And that's what the mission zero unemployment, what we are focusing upon by focusing on three E's. So the first aspect would be to work with the businesses. This is what we have done as per our vision 2020-2030 to transform 1 billion lives, 1 million businesses, and 100 unicorns. And we are looking at developing the world's largest cross-border, inclusive, patented, accessible, and autodidactic metaverse virtual university. It is an edu-fintech platform which is going to have the world's first patented skills bank, which will be guiding the individuals at a very dynamic pace. So our AI system will be supporting them and finding them the right place with right skills at the right time. And that's what the whole initiative is all about. And I think this is going to be the future of our country. Our youth, our children has all the power. So we want to focus first on our youth, children, and entrepreneurs. And these are the three focus areas which we are going to bring in onto that. And with that, I would like to I will be playing a little bit of a ribbon cutting ceremony, a video out there, so that we can just initiate the sessions and then we will go to our chief guest who will speak about what they have to say about this book, about the work what we are doing, and then we will unveil the various other initiatives which we are going to do in the entire year of financial year 22-23. Thank you so much for being a part of this virtual ribbon cutting ceremony with us. And this is why I would request Mr. Andarjeet Singh to talk about. And first of all, thank you so much, all the chief guests who have taken their time to come and attend this ribbon cutting ceremony and going to talk about various thoughts about their thoughts about India's transformation and individual transformation. I would like to specifically thank Mr. Andarjeet Singh out here because even after being little unwell, he has agreed to join the session today physically, even though he had an option to send his recorded video. So thank you so much, Indrajit sir, and would like to unmute yourself and talk about a little few words about the entire initiative which we are working upon.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me to participate in this ribbon cutting ceremony. And I think it's very tastefully done. Your video is impressive. I had this opportunity. Good evening, everybody. I had this opportunity of going through the synopsis that you had sent, and I think it's a very comprehensive kind of an account that you have given for which revolves around your objectives as to what your mission is, and it's quite in consonance with what you have in mind and what is there in the digital version of the book. So until such time that we get the paper book, I mean, like a hard copy, I think this makes a lot of, it's a very good initiative on your part. Um, uh, when you say transforming India into a self-sustainable and financially independent economy, the operative words as I see are transforming, self-sustainable, and financially independent economy. I mean, that's at the core of what you have in mind. So I must compliment the efforts that Bringle and Vardhan for you are putting in, which are akin to some extent to the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Since I work with the United Nations and I'm an advisor to them, I thought, if with your permission, I'll just touch upon the relevance of the SDGs and then how your thing fits into SDGs and how SDGs are actually your work and SDGs of the United Nations are complementing each other. Okay, they may be overlapping in certain areas, but then they have a set of 17 SDGs which they want to accomplish by 2030. I've been a part of it because I've been going around in different parts of the world implementing UN projects, and as I see, a lot of work is being done, and people are taking it very seriously. Why SDGs? I mean, there are a lot of goals around the world, floating around the world. NGOs make their own goals, governments make their own goals. But why this we are looking forward to a fruition is because United Nations is like a world government, and everybody who is signatory to it is bound to comply with those things. And like any all other initiatives, I mean, this is not like you mentioned also that it is we are not looking at a very narrow perspective of local or regional or national. What we are looking for is a global approach. And what better platform than United Nations, which can give a global flavor to the entire thing. And of course, they are not all the time very successful. I mean, we have seen what's happening in Russia and Ukraine and all. I mean, they can only pursue to a certain extent, but that body cannot force you to do things. But they develop a kind of a general consensus, and people like yourselves, all of you here, who are the leaders and influencers, they convey that message down the line at government's level or working level, wherever we go as ambassadors or whatever you may say, representatives of the UN, we go and tell them the significance of it. Now, I've been very fortunate since I am an African by birth. I had this opportunity. I know a few languages in Africa. So I have served in 18 countries in Africa alone. Forget about Southeast Asia and Mexico and Brazil and all that. But don't take me as an antique, because when I say I've served in 25 countries, it could vary from 7 days. I mean, my trip to Addis Ababa was only for 14 days. But my longest tenure has been 2 years in Mauritius, and I was the advisor, UN advisor to Honorable Prime Minister, who became the president later on. So the whole idea to tell you is why your sets of goals that you have set and what SDG is saying is universal in approach. And today we cannot possibly sit in isolation. I can see amongst your guests and representatives in the book I've seen and your group, it's very international. I mean, it's not like people, everybody from Delhi or India or from Southeast Asia. I think they are global. And today, possibly we cannot think local and regional. pandemic has taught us a very big lesson. Imagine if we were sitting in our own cocoon and trying to develop vaccines or trying to do some research in it alone, we could have never achieved those goals which we have been able to achieve. So, what I appreciate about your approach and how you are going to deal with this starting from August is that you also have a very, very global outlook and a very global approach, and you are reaching out to the world and suggesting what all is to be done. Now, as I mentioned to you, I'll just outline a few relevant, if you time permitting. I mean, you can always raise your hand and tell me to stop. But time permitting, I would just say that the 17 Sustainable Development Goals aim to end poverty, hunger, and inequality, take action on climate change, environment, and all. I am not going to count all 17, but education, employment, and entrepreneurship, the three E's just you mentioned, are very much there. I mean, they're there, and I couldn't possibly, when I first saw what these global 17 global goals are, development goals are, I was amazed that there is not even one single thing that they have missed on. I mean, you take hotel industry, it's there. You take tourism, it's there. It's health, everything. So they've been very well crafted. So if we stick to those, and our intention is to make sure by 2030 we are able to get a good compliance report on all of these. But because of the pandemic, there may be another 2 or 3 years loss, which is happening in every. I mean, I belong to the aviation, so I know how much setback we had. We are catching up very fast, incidentally, but still it's going to take us another 1 year to get back to 2019 traffic levels. So that's all about it. And what is more important to know is that these 17 SDGs are all inclusive, they are integrated, and are not mutually exclusive. You see, the important thing is that if you're focusing on one aspect, you in any case are focusing on some other related aspects. Each SDG is like a link, and all these go and make a chain. And as we all know that the strength of a chain is in the weakest link. So if one link, let's say for a moment, because we are talking of education, employment, and entrepreneurship, imagine we have everything going well, but education is lacking. So that link is going to become weak, it will break, and the entire chain will snap. So what the emphasis is that we give equal importance to each one of them and not prioritize amongst them. But of course, there will be leaders or a group of people working on one issue. That's a different issue. But coordination and cooperation without any confrontation and conflict, I think is the name of the game. So we have to have cooperation, we have to have coordination, but we don't want conflict, we don't want confrontation. Uh, one line I would just mention that yeah, I believe that the idea that some lives matter less is the root cause of everything wrong that's going on in this world. I mean, we cannot say that. Uh, Fortunately, I being a pilot, I'm colorblind. So for me, black or white and gray doesn't matter. I mean, I love to be colorblind when it comes to the color of the skin. But here we are talking at a global level. So I've seen in Africa, they have taken it very seriously. The compliance reports that we observe, we find that SDGs are being taken very seriously in the developing countries as compared to the developed countries. Because developed countries always feel that they are know-alls, they know everything, while as people in African countries, or let's say part of this side in Southeast Asia, we have certain developing countries, we take it seriously because we know that we want to progress and go ahead. So, so to just sum it up, I would say what is required is the transformational change. And as you very nicely pointed out, that before we go and attempt transforming others, we have to first transform ourselves and then attempt to
Absolutely.
transform others. And I'll end up by saying what Charles Darwin said: it's not the strongest or the most intelligent who will survive, but those who can best manage to change. So we should be, when we are talking of transformation, we are actually talking of evolution, we are talking of growth, and we are talking of change. So how we manage our change is, I think, the crux of the whole matter. And I must again, in the end, compliment you for this very, very good initiative. And I volunteer myself to be whatever, in whichever way I can contribute to this mission. I'm always there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Singh. And I think before I talk further, I would want to first of all tell each of you that Mr. Singh has been, CEO for the Delhi airport for a long period of time. He has worked with multiple airports, not just in India, and I think some international airports as well, apart from his flying experience. So he's a well-renowned expert and advisor and consultant in the airline industry, and recently just completed a 9 months, if I'm not wrong, Mr. Singh, your
Yes,
project with
well,
United Nations.
I come on a little vacation, but this project is a we are developing an aviation security regulatory framework for three countries: United States, Canada, and Mexico. So I was there for 13 months in one stretch,
13
visiting
months.
these three countries. I'm leading that UN team of experts in aviation. And why security? Because when I was the CEO of Delhi Airport, I was the chairman of Airport Security Committee. And incidentally, IGI Airport is the only airport which is hypersensitive. You know, we have different categories of airport, being one because it's the capital airport of the country. Then our threat assessment from our friendly neighboring countries is very, very high. And then we have the heads of the states and heads of the governments going in and out of it. So it's a hypersensitive airport categorized through threat assessment. So they thought that since I have dealt with all these things in a way which was considered good, I was asked to lead this team. But I have worked with the UN for I mean, 11 years now, in fact. I resigned from
Wow.
the government service and I worked there.
Wow. So I think, Mr. Singh, I really want to thank you for bringing up the concept, the United Nations SDGs part of it. Because I remember Sharmila had been talking about it, and she's been actually literally writing it out, which
Okay,
SDG goals we are kind of focusing upon.
okay,
And this whole concept of, while it has started from a Indian perspective as a Sone ki Chidiya ko Jagao, because
yeah,
India, I am an Indian and we are true Indians, from heart, patriots, and we would want to support our country first.
of course.
So while this initiative is definitely for India in terms of the book, but what we feel is that the Sone ki Chidiya, we always used to talk about the golden goose story, which we have been hearing it, right? What is that golden egg? That golden egg is nothing but about your inner leadership. So that's about the Sone ki Chidiya also, which is there in everybody's, inside their soul. You just have to inspire them to bring that out and, and transform themselves into a more, self-sustainable individual first, so that they can then eventually make their country as self-sustainable and financially
Sure,
independent
sure,
economy.
sure. And
And
since you mentioned
so,
about Chidiya, I think it's very relevant to say that Chidiyas don't need visas to go out. They can migrate anywhere
absolutely.
they want. They come from Siberia all the way to a place very close to Delhi. So I think when you call it a Chidiya, let's be more universal. Of course, charity must begin at
Right,
home. So you start with India, but I think as we go, we make it start sounding a little more global. Uh, by the name Chidiya, which
right,
is not, you can't confine it over Indian airspace. It goes to
right,
Nepal and goes to
right,
Bhutan and goes to Maldives. They can take a round
right.
and come back to India. So that's on the,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. So I think very well said. In fact, that's the whole objective. So the version one of the book is definitely focused towards India. As
Sure.
you rightly said, charity begins at home.
Yes.
And being a true Indian, and everybody's focus is towards India right now. So we'll continue to focus it from India. We
Yeah.
will make it as an India-focused effort while we
Sure.
transform the eventual globe. So our global vision of 2020, 2030 of transforming 1 billion lives, 1 million businesses, and 100
Yes.
unicorns is not limited to India for sure.
Sure.
And So the way what we are looking at is that this is a concept we are implementing in India, and it's not that just we are doing it right now. We have been doing it for the last 2.5 years now. We have got a good setup on the ground at this point in time, and we'll discuss it more later on about that. And we are already getting requests from Africa, Middle East, Singapore, Australia to come and deploy these initiatives in their country.
Oh,
We are looking at goodwill ambassadors or the ambassadors who could take up these journeys on a maybe on a master franchisee model or any other kind of a model which they can take it up.
sure.
And Sharmila is working with Vardhan for You along with Rotary International right now. We have done, I think she'll talk about it much more in detail.
Okay.
And how Rotary International has come in part, and they are making now three countries partnership: UK, Romania, and India, and how they are setting up the accessibility centers and with taking this Mission Zero unemployment also globally. So there are many countries which are coming in. We would also want to connect with United Nations if we could support their SDGs, and somehow we could work on that. So
Sure.
I think thank you so much for bringing that out
Welcome.
here. Uh,
You're welcome.
uh, Considering the time constraints, and I see Dr. Hari has been, he's one of the person I would like to introduce to everybody, that whenever you want to talk about India's transformation, he's always there. He's the one who is always going around across the globe and talking about Vision Digital India. That's what he's the chairman and digital ambassador as well.
Great.
And recently, he has an opportunity to meet our prime minister as well. Plus, he has got invited by a UAE, one of the corporate sheikhs out there. I think he'll be able to talk more about that, about skill development in
Okay.
Dubai, what they are planning to do. So I would want to, I think, request Dr. Hari to give his views about India's power or the golden bird or the SoneKiChidiya status, and what he's working towards, and how he thinks that this book and this overall initiative is going to take us back, regaining our lost glory.
Yeah.
Dr. Hari, over to you.
Thank you very much, Anshav, and digital greetings to each one of you. It's wonderful to connect digitally here. I can see a lot of my friends who joined here, and I would like to congratulate Anshav, Sharmila, the entire Bringle team for a great occasion, bringing one more wonderful initiative. Uh, Whatever we are talking from last half an hour, the Sonika Chidiya, and how you can transform India into a global nation. And I think with the Bringle, we done a lot of things earlier. Last 2 years,
Right.
we associated together with Ansho and team, and done wonderful initiatives during COVID time, bringing all the people, academic community together. We conducted a series of online things. So now I think this
Right.
SoneKiChidiyaKoJagao book is going to be a one more great initiative of Bringle transforming India. And I think definitely listening to Mr. Indrajit Singh, really, how the United Nations is working on SDG goals, and explaining how he's involved into multiple countries and bringing together is really great thing to know that. Um, Now, specific to today, the discussion, I think definitely one of the chapter is focused on GDKP. Professor Umberto Salpaso, who is a senior fellow at Digital uh, Future at California State University in Los Angeles, is the person who brought a wonderful idea of how we can able to transform India, adding K, that is nothing but a knowledge, into the GDP, and how we can see the growth of each country. So he says skill plays very important role in the economy of developing the nation. And when Anshav started the inaugural speech, he was talking about the economy and how India, China was leading initially. I think everyone who has joined here, we are very much familiar. India is known as Viswaguru. We had a wonderful institutions called Nalanda, Takshashila, Santiniketan. These are the beautiful institutions thousands of years back where people used to walk, months together to reach here when there is no airports, there is no, transportation system, proper roads. People used to come from more than 30, 35 countries to study in India. So from there, a lot of transformation, a lot of things happened in the last 400, 500 years in India. And today we are again regaining that power, what rightly said by Anshav. Today, youth is the power of India. Today, when you talk about demographic dividend, we are the country, unlike any country in this world, got that advantage of that demographic dividend with a lot of youth. At the same time, we are, I think I have my friend Dr. S.K. Prasad, who is from also a leading academician. Today, we have more than 1,050 universities in India and 50,000 colleges and more than 2 million schools, which consist of altogether 460 million students, which is one of the largest student
Right.
population in the world. So with these all
Right.
power, I think India is going to again see the power, see the knowledge and the status of Viswaguru, and we can able to concentrate on skills. We can able to concentrate on our youth. I think definitely India is going to be a great destination in the world in coming years. So the book, I think, covered these all topics. We at Vision Digital India uh, join hands with this wonderful project called GDKP. Uh, and we are going to work with closely with the Indian government, Niti Aayog, to launch the world's largest skill development initiative. More than 70, 75 crore Indian youth will be involved. We will be identifying uh, what skills are required on each district, each village, each town, and we are able to work on developing those skills and create one more knowledge of India, where the K is added into the GDP, where definitely again we will gain back and get back to the double digit growth of India, which we seen only few months long back. So I think when you look at today the global scenario, even in the last 2 years scenario, India is definitely given a kind of proven knowledge to this world. Today, unlike 20, 25 years back when I worked for a leading multinational company called Novartis, every day we used to hear the stories of all the multinational companies acquiring Indian companies. So today the scenario is changed. Today the Indian companies become a global. The entire world is scared that the Indian companies may acquire them. So that is a kind of a scenario we are able to create. I think when we are talking about the wealth, when we are talking about nation, I think the few companies are doing extremely well. Uh, and these companies are going to be a role model to this world, and these companies are already created a great wealth and giving a competition to the top 10, the world richest people or top 10 richest companies of this world. They are giving a very tough competition. This was not there 5 years back, and it is a good sign for a country like India with a 1.35 billion population. That is the power. I think when I talk about 1.35 billion population, it is not only 1.35 billion population, which is there across the world. We have 2.7 billion hands working towards making India proud. And I think the book which Anshav is talking, the Vision 2020 to 2030, is the same. I think we will see again the golden era. We always say in South India, the Sri Krishna Devaraya, so who built Vijayanagara Empire. So that time, gold, the diamonds, which they were selling on the roads. So this same thing, I think, the knowledge which right now we are selling to across the world, the IT power today. Today, if you talk about the U.S. economy, which is one of the largest economy in the world with a $22 trillion. So this is majorly 15% is contributed by none other than Indians, the academic people, the IT people, the doctors, the entrepreneurs. Today, you have wonderful startups, which is starting from India. We have the world-class startups. Today, the number one edtech company in this world is Baiju, with a 20 billion market capitalization, which is again started from Bangalore, from a small garage. And these are the finest examples what India can do to this world. There are days which are gone where what other countries can do to India. Today we are in a upper way that what we can do to this world. Entire world is looking that when it comes to the vaccine, when it comes to the IT, when it comes to the problem solutions, entire world is looking at India. And now India is become a big brother where we are supporting smaller countries to overcome their problems, their challenges, their issues. So that's how I think see the brighter side of India sooner. So I wish again the great luck and wishing all the best to Anshav and Sharmila and the entire team. And we at Vision Digital India always there with a Bringle towards making your dream into reality. Thank you. Thank you, Anshu.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hari. And I think it is a wonderful thought which you have shared. And I actually, you brought a concept about corporate takeovers a little bit. And I would like to kind of share this about to everybody. Recently, there was, I have actually visited L&T Skills Academy. And of course, through Mr. R.N. Makhija. And I think I see him out here. Mr. Mukhija, if you could, switch on your camera, I would like to share something about him. So he actually, I met him in in the Tycon event in Mumbai, and there, I mean, I don't want to repeat the story. It's there on my LinkedIn, and Mr. Mukija will tell me, Ansha, what are you saying? Every time you will share the same story. So I'm just keeping the story aside right now. But what I would want to share with you is that L&T is one company who has never been acquired and will never be acquired by anybody. And the very good reason is that Shri A.K. Nayak has really worked out on that aspect. In fact, he has saved the company L&T not only, I mean, outsiders and just, in fact, that company has been set up by a Danish outsiders or somebody who's not an Indian, but now it's a truly an Indian company and has saved company to be taking a takeover even from Ambani's and Birla's. And believe me, none of them feels bad about it. They are really good. They have a very good feeling about it because it was a win-win situation. And that's what the leadership of Shri A.K. Nayak, which was there. And of course, under his guidance and leadership now, he's working on creating a Train the Trainer Academy at L&T Skills Academy in Mud Island. And I got an opportunity because of Mr. Mukhija to be there and witness myself around 1,000 plus trainers being ITI diploma trainers being trained in various different expertise out there. And Mr. Mukhija himself is a director in L&T. He is, board member in various other organizations, including Voltas and other things. He has been there. He's enjoying his, kind of a retired life right now. And but would like to, ask him. He has worked very closely with Mr. Nayak. So would like Mr. Mukhija to kind of talk about little bit about the initiative, about the book, and his thoughts that how we could inspire our children and youth and entrepreneurs of our country and help them awaken their own golden boy.
Anshar, thanks. But I thought I requested you that I will be only a visitor to your site. I'm happy to be here. I wish you best of luck.
Well,
And I have known
thank
you
you so much.
for quite some time. And thanks for the good words you have for me and my organization. Thank you very much. My best wishes to you and your team. You are doing a great job. All the best. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the motivation and support as always. I just didn't want to kind of leave it the moment like that before, rather than. So I would wanted to introduce you. Now taking this to the next level, Dr. Hari Krishna Maram has just spoken about GDKP. And one of the important aspect I would like to highlight out here is that, and coming from a Lean Six Sigma and project management background, I always have a belief, and in fact, Sharmila has also been a Six Sigma green belt on that. So we have a belief that anything you can measure, you can improve. When we talk about education, employment, and entrepreneurship, if we don't have a measurement system, we won't be able to really figure it out whether it is improving or not, whether it is giving the results or not. And that is where there are three major indexes, while there are six indexes which are going to be a part of this Bringleverse ecosystem. But there are three major indexes which are going to be there. One is your education knowledge index, which is going to be a part of a GDKP, which Dr. Hari Krishna is mentioning about. And Professor Ambato Salpasa from University of California, along with Niti Aayog, Dr. Hari Krishna Amaram, and with Vision Digital India and Bringle. Now we are planning to bring courses on GDKP for schools, colleges, and for everybody on the Bringle platform, so that we could take it up to the masses around that. There is not going to be an employability index to measure employability of each and every youth and individual in our country, including children. And third is about business sustainability index. So whenever you will have your knowledge index and employability index being deployed into the businesses, how your businesses are impacting or getting benefited, and that's where the business sustainability index is going to be there all about. There are few underlying aspects which are going to come in, like your health index, which is being set up by Able Card, and Aishwarya is leading it. There will be, along with a mental health index, which will be created. There will be another index called accessibility index, which Sharmila is working upon to make sure that all the organizations, our infrastructure, technology, physical infrastructure, content, everything is accessible and it can be used or leveraged by all the people, including the disabled people out there. And that's where the accessibility index comes in into the picture. So that's how the broad level six indexes which will be coming in into that. Now with that, I would just want to play a kind of a 2 3 minutes video which has been sent by Professor Ambato Salpasa. I think he was unable to join this session. He's also a chief guest for our session today. And he has also given an article on GDKP and will be working on various programs and courses with him.
Good morning. My name is Umberto Sultato. I want to congratulate Bringle's excellent leaders who inaugurate a very important book for India, for young India, for the government, for scholars, and for labor institutions. We live in the 52nd years of Internet age, the third greatest revolution of knowledge, which is the globalization of knowledge. Today, billions of people produce, teach, sell, and exchange their knowledge, overcoming the national and classical barriers that have been ruling the world for millennia, maintaining discrimination, underdevelopment, and unemployment. My personal contribution to this revolution, of which I speak in this book, has been to promote the first great new measure of wealth of nations based on knowledge, the GDKP, the gross domestic knowledge product, as an alternative to the old harmful GDP based only on material production that is leading the world to the sixth total extinction. Please note that my words are now used in an official document of UN. All GDP must be integrated by a new form of wealth. And for the calculation of GDP India, the first in the world, I was appointed by the government of India senior fellow on NITI, and by NITI, its director. My GDP India model was approved by all Indian institutions, by the MOSPI, by the Chief of Indian Statistics, by the DG of the Central Statistical Office, and finally, my methodology got the final green light from the National Statistics Commission upon presentation of the CEO of NITI himself. Sadly, when there was no more than a month left to give the world the first GDP, the explosion of COVID prevented me from coming to India to complete the work. And unfortunately, a NITI consultant who did not understand the enormous historical and strategical importance of GDP for India and the specific role of NITI took advantage of my absence to suggest that the work be blocked at the last step. How is it possible that an innovation approved by all Indian statistical institutions and formally promoted by the top of NITI, the CEO himself, and the VC, is blocked by suggestion of a consultant who has not understood its importance for NITI and makes grammatical mistakes, is the subject of a case study ready to be published, whose title is NITI and India, GDP Love It, and then Why Leave It? To remedy this enormous damage done by the country and to the Indians, I asked NITI to provide me a health protocol that protects me in case of COVID. Whenever I receive this protocol, I will come to India to complete in a month the first GDP in the world. The ambition is that also thanks to this book, the chairman of NITI, who is the India Prime Minister, can announce as soon as possible at UN that in the year 52nd of Internet age, the GDP India, the first measure in the world of wealth of nation in terms of knowledge, has been accomplished. Waiting for this NITI health protocol, on the Bringle platform, we will promote a GDP India course in nutshell with the Indian and American teachers, with a case study which will explain to everybody modalities, uses, and benefits of GDP India, of which I want to highlight here, for the importance of this book, the first index of learning cost by state, by urban and rural areas, by age and by sex. Another extraordinary aspect of GDP India model that NITI consultants didn't understand. And I'm sure Bringle will properly promote it. Therefore, while I celebrate the extraordinary work done by Bringle's manager, I take this opportunity to ask the people of Bringle to write to NITI to ask that for the health protocol that in a month will lead the GDP India to a conclusion and give the country a sensational tool in relation to its modern education and employment ambition. Beautiful highlighted by this excellent book that every institution should buy and promote. Thank you very much for your attention.
So thank you so much, Professor Ambato. And I'm not sure whether we will be able to reach out to NITI for any other, health protocol, but we'll definitely try from our side. But in any scenario, we are committed to support, taking up this initiative of GDKP, and whatever help and support we will be able to bring it out, we will bring it into that. We can work on the various statistical models, and accordingly, we will take it forward from there. So with this, I would just want to kind of now share something about, what Arjun Vaidya has sent a
Hi
video
guys,
to
my name
us
is Arjun Vaidya.
about
I'm the
this.
founder of Dr. Vedya's and now ventures lead at Vol Invest. A lot of my time that I spend, I give back to startups and early stage ventures in our ecosystem. I'm so happy to support Bringle's Sone Ki Chidiya Jagao initiative. I think it's an outstanding initiative to bring employment down to zero and bring India back to its old glory. I think it's something that has a lot of thought, a lot of patriotism associated with it. And so I think when we think about sort of our nation going forward and really working towards the progress of our nation, I think initiatives like this are very important. I salute Anshav and the rest of the team for putting this together, for really thinking about this important subject, and for really giving people the ability to dream and to be able to become self sufficient. I think that's what we all need to do. We all need to support people around us to do these kind of things. And I'm so excited for the launch of the book for Vision, the vision that this team has put together. I'm an ardent supporter of everything that they're doing. I urge all of you to go and pre-book the book and be a part of this amazing initiative. And more than just the book, inspire people around you, because each of us, as they said, can inspire 3 people on a monthly basis, and that can lead to a real big movement. So, congratulations to the team on the initiative. Congratulations on the launch of this amazing initiative, and I'm a proud supporter and proponent of what you're doing.
So thank you so much, Arjun, for your support. And I think this is very important for all of us. Just to give you a little background around about Arjun. So Arjun is
Hi, guys. My
something
name is Arjun.
who has actually started he's taken his grandfather's legacy of Ayurveda medicines, where he himself has got cured from asthma using the Ayurvedic medicines, and he created a brand from zero to 100 crore brand of Dr. Vaidya's, which eventually got sold to Goenka Group. And now he's working on developing the startup ecosystem. So he has actually, at a very young age of 24, 25, what he has been able to achieve this thing. And now the way he is transforming India by focusing on supporting the startup ecosystem and especially the D2C startup ecosystem is commendable. So he travels continuously across the globe at this point in time, and right now also he's traveling. That is why he was not able to join us live, but he definitely made sure to send us a video of his support on this. Thank you so much, Arjun, and we will look forward for your further support on that. With this, I would want to share one more
Good evening,
person's very
everyone. It's such a
interesting
pleasure that on the
about Mr. Mahavir Pratap Sharma. So let's hear his views before I tell something about him.
25th of June, I'm addressing all of you the day India won the World Cup decades ago. And I think it's a very, very lucky day for India. And I think on this occasion to launch the initiative of the book that Anshav has created, the SoneKiChidiya, which is trying to promote entrepreneurship, trying to create jobs for people, something that India's economy and India does need. And I think the future lies in India. The startup ecosystem is always evolving, and I think entrepreneurship, technology, Indian education, workforce, government, everything has come together to take India to the next level. And the next this decade belongs to India, and I think that's what collectively we all can do. I think initiatives and books like these inspire people, encourage people. We've launched Horses Stable Junior, which is going to go across all schools in the age group of 10 to 17, try and initiate the concept of entrepreneurship, the concept of technology, the concept of startups, the concept of creating jobs. That's one initiative that we've taken at Horses Stable, other than investing in early stage startups in the regular Horses Stable. So the Horses Stable Junior is going to be great. Similarly, organizations like TIE, which I have been very much part of for the last 20 some years, have created an ecosystem.
So Mr. Mahavir Pratap Sharma is actually chairman of Rajasthan Angels Network. It's called RAIN, and also he's a part of Thai Angels Network as well. He's based out of Jaipur, Rajasthan, and he's a person who's going to actually, when I spoke to him about the book and our World Book of Records event as a live non-stop 48 hours event in August. He said, I'm going to talk about 1 hour on entrepreneurship on your event, Anshav. And that's what the kind of person he's all about. He's always there to support us. And we need many more people like that. And there are many more institutions and people whom we are talking about at this point in time. So we'll talk further on that. And Ibento's team, are you there with us right now? Looks like they have left. Ivento's team have actually created, they are going to work with us on creating a metaverse or a Bringleverse university. First look out of it. We have seen a little glimpse on the ribbon cutting ceremony. Uh, Let me kind of just check with them if they are rejoining it, and they would be able to showcase certain specific aspects of that. In between, I would request Sharmila to kind of talk about little bit about accessibility and the sustainable development goals, what Mr. Indrajit Singh has spoken about. So, Sharmila, could you throw some light on accessibility and what kind of a work you are doing, especially with Rotary and Rotary International and other organizations right now?
Thank you, Aisha. I am right now in Kashmir, and today has been a very good day. Uh, a little about myself, Mr. Indrajit Singh. I come from the background of IT as a profession, but as a child, I had encephalitis, and I grew up with disability as a part of my life. And though it has not been a singular aspect of my life, it has impacted me all through. My focus on SDGs is SDG 11. That is the base that I start with. And then the rest of them come up and add to the pyramid, so to speak. So I am holidaying in Kashmir with my parents. Probably the way my mother says, our last trip to her motherland. She's a Kashmiri Pandit. And if I have my way, I would have more trips here. It is indeed heaven on earth. Today was one day where I got two surprises. I am staying at the Lalit, and my mother uses a wheelchair because the entire property is huge and we need to have certain things in place. So a wheelchair is what I had requested. Today I have seen a ramp across the entire property for her use. And that has put me in a very good space. The other one was I had gone to the Taj Vivanta for coffee, and I slipped on the mat at the entry. The mat was wet, and it did not take up the requisite weight that it was supposed to. I hurt myself, but uh, that made the entire hotel take up the matter of having the ramp seen as a requisite in any of the hotels that they have. I have I haven't seen a, a better opportunity. Yeah, I did get hurt, but I haven't seen a better opportunity to take up this. In 1 hour's time, the ramp was cleaned, the signage was put up, and by the time I walked out of the Taj Vivanta, I could take a wheelchair down the ramp for my mother. Instant action in 2 hotels in one day. I have not seen this in my life here in India.
So that
Until,
shows, I think that shows
until
India is rising. India is
yes,
picking up
India is
right now.
rising, and we are looking at change, at instant change, because I was so surprised that when I came back this evening, I had a ramp for my mother to put up the wheelchair in the Lalit as well. So I was delighted, and I have been asked to take up a bit of consulting with the Lalit Srinagar today for the accessibility. I'm I have been in this mode uh, since 11 a.m. this month. This is just one day, and I am wishing for a very long life for myself.
So, so by the way, I think Sharmila will always remain humble as she has always been there. So Sharmila is one person who is actually working and dedicated her life to build now a accessible and inclusive society. That is one important reason that we are building our metaverse, the Bringleverse, also as inclusive, so that those 75% of persons with disabilities who are uneducated today can be provided the education. And she's not just limiting it to education. She wants to create it as an employment opportunities for them, making all organization accessible, including media, the public transport, airports, bus stands, railway stations, metro stations, and even the corporates, so that they could take up the people who are with disabilities out there. There could be temporary or permanent disabilities. There could be age-related disabilities, but there should be a complete inclusive and accessibility aspect. I am not sure how much of you are aware, but as what Sharmila tells me, that government is actually going to impart a huge penalties on businesses from 1st January 2023 if they are not accessible. It is not just inclusive today, they have to be accessible and readily available for each and every individual in the country, including the disabled ones. And that's what the Sharmila is dedicating her life for the same. And before kind of concluding, I would want to kind of give a little background about her and about her story. So she was just 5.5 years old when she got cerebral palsy, which is the encephalitis fever, and she found herself found herself waking up on a hospital bed after 10 days of coma. Half of her body was paralyzed. She lost her eyesight. She lost her speech, and then followed it up with 18 years of rigorous therapies and various things, and because of which she could regain her eyesight. Fortunately, her mind was intact, and she could get back her speech. There is a little speech issue even today now, but she is very well capable to manage her speech well. She has a little spastic hand. With that, she has got 35 years of industry experience. She has worked with international NGOs. She is running a helpline for government of person with disabilities. And not only just that, she has taken Vardhan in I Am Bangalore cohort from 11,000 women to top 20 startups out there. And Vardhan is now listed on I Am Bangalore. She's also got, passed through AIC Raise and Jito incubators as well from the accessibility point of view. And recently, she has she's the elect president for a Gujarat chapter of Rotary International. And now with Vardhan and Rotary, she's working on developing the international centers across for the accessibility part of it. So Sharmil, I would want you to kind of talk a little bit around that. If you could share something to all of us, what exactly you are doing out there.
Okay. Rotary has different chapters across the globe. Now, one of the chapters in Romania, one in London, and three others in India. That's one in Delhi, one in Baroda, Gujarat, and Bangalore. So the five chapters will come together to take up work in accessibility as a part of their focus. And I am a part of that entire team. We are looking at Vardhan centers across the globe for these five chapters to begin with. This has to be propagated in each of the countries as a model, and it's like a domino effect, one after the other. So that's the thought, and that's the focus that we are looking at. Accessibility across industry, across education, across you name it. You're looking at hospitals, you're looking at healthcare. In every aspect of living, we should have accessibility as a given. And that is what is going to matter in the coming years. You're going to have people age but live longer. You're going to have children studying in different modes, virtual, physical, however way. But every child has the right to education, and disabled or not, that right stands. So you will need to have accessible content. You will also need to have institutions to be made. So it's a very long effort. And that is where I told you that I wish a very long night for myself because I need to finish this. Please do not me.
Thank you so much, Shamila, for sharing this. And I think we will definitely know more, take more details in the next session. I would
Sure.
like to specifically thank Mr. Indrajit Singh, and he's being unwell and still is being there. So, Mr. Singh, if you want to kind of take a leave, please feel free to go and have rest. We are really, really obliged and thankful that you joined the session today. And, actually spoke about a lot of important aspects with respect to United Nations. So we'll definitely connect with you on the same as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And lots of love to everybody. I enjoyed every moment of my participation and look forward to it again.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Take
Bye
care.
then.
Uh,
Thank you.
okay. Uh, with this, I would like to, invite Pankaj. Pankaj, if you could either share your screen and if you could, maybe come online. Oh, perfect, Pankaj. Good to see you. And if you could share about what Ibentos is doing and what kind of a work, great work. So I apparently, reached out to Ibentos team recently last week, and they have given me a wonderful demo. Frankly, I wasn't expecting that it will go for more than half an hour, and it went on for almost 2 hours. So I would like to, Pankaj to kind of share what the work which they are doing and how they would be able to help us out in creating this metaverse university and what kind of a platform and online platform which could be more engaging for the people, it could be there. So thank you so much, Pankaj, for joining in, and would love your presentation or videos around that.
Thank you so much, Enzo, for giving me an opportunity to share our concept. We Eventos is a basically event marketing and event technology company where we provide the virtual solution for. I was talking about the journey for. I'm just again beginning. I was talking about the journey, how the student will come from the air taxi and they will land here, and this will be the like a park area where they can around and hang out. This will be the building. This can be any kind of building which we can create it. That's the actually template what we have created, and that is the like the avatar. That will be the avatar for yourself, and we can create the avatar immediately by the take a picture. You can upload the picture and create the avatar to the student, and avatar can talk to each other avatars. Like as you are in the college and you are talking to your friends like the same manner. This is the entrance, and that is a lobby. We can create a multiple room, multiple things, and we can have the point area where people can like a touch base area, can go, can interact with the team, like a kind of activity they can do it. That is a discussion room we have created. That can be library section. That's a different section. That's a like a discussion room in the interior part. That is a like again cafeteria, like a moving around. This is a office area, account department. We can create it. So that's the actually template we have created for this, and that's the auditorium area for the lecture and the for lecture for the classes they can attend. That is like look like. I'm Tamer Salah, هدف Gulf Lebanon.
I welcome you on the Forum of Education Streaming Festival Speaker Volume and enjoy the ride. Thank you for logging.
Is the car ride, branding and all the things. That is the actually Dubai food, and we have created the interactive. This is a massive experience and journey to reach out the hotel where the event is happening, hosting the event. So that's the kind of format we can create for the university, as we have discussed with Anshav. We were discussing 2 days before with Anshav.
Thank you, Pankaj. I think we've got a fair idea, and I think we can use this model even for the event part as well, where we can show the India's glory, the India's
Yes.
infrastructure, what we have already built in, and leverage, bring in India Gate, maybe Gateway of India, and other the special structures of India, and with some of our leaders, maybe biographies or details out there. So I think it's a very wonderful thing. So Pankaj, I would definitely connect with you offline on this, and we'll see how we can partner on this. Uh, I would also like to thank our sponsor or supporter, Townscript. So Townscript has kind of come up as an exclusive ticketing partner for us, and they are also going to promote about the event, and they are going to support. So all our ticketing is happening on the Townscript platform. What you have to do is you have to just go on bit.ly link of WBR event. We are looking at is we are creating a world book of records attempt. We are attempting on that, and once you go there, you will find a lot of contests and aspects on about that ticketing and all. So you can go into those details. For more details, you can reach out to us, and we will create a separate video on that. With this, I would like to thank each and everybody who has participated here today. Our chief guest for taking special time in either in recording video, and especially to the ones who have attended this for such a long time. And thank you so much for joining. I can still see Mr. Mukhija is still here. Amit is here. Aishwarya, Sharmila, and all of you guys are here. So thank you so much for your support. So if you want to kind of say some parting words, especially Amit, if you want to share something, would be happy to know, about your thoughts.
I think the journey is just starting, Anshav. While we have been on this journey for quite a few years now, I think we are now picking up speed. And, it is like what started as a few people is now generating and gathering a storm. And there are so many eminent people, like, jinke samne we feel like, kids right now. There's so
Absolutely.
much happening, so much knowledge, to be learned and done. I'll just say that whatever is required, we are there. We'll get it done. इंडिया को वापस सोने की चिड़िया बनाना है. So we'll do whatever is required. I offer all my support for
Sure.
this.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ankit. Thank you so much, Amit. And let's do this. Let's do this together.
We'll do it. Okay.
Bye-bye. And keep bringing, keep growing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sharmila. Always good to hear you and see you.